poor operation to make enormous profits.
The fact is that the true destination of British tyres isn't properly checked at all. Why? Because tyres are classified as green waste, which means non-hazardous. Now, the fascinating twist in all of this is that it's happened before. Another country's been through the whole thing and managed to sort it out. Melbourne, Australia, 2019. As the Australian Grand Prix got underway, Formula One cars burnt rubber on the starting grid. In a quiet office in another part of the city, Lena Goodman was grappling with the fact that Australia's waste tyres were disappearing, being sold to the developing world, mainly India.
I'm the CEO of Tyre Stewardship Australia, and we are set up to essentially find solutions for tyres once they reach end of life.
Lena was trying to understand why baled tyres were being exported for huge bucks.
No one could categorically tell me what was happening to that material. Even legitimate operators who were sending that material overseas and working perhaps with brokers or third parties to send their material, they also didn't know. We were relying on the paperwork that said that it was going to certain destinations in India, and once we prodded and checked,
in 200 yards, turn right onto Butcher Road.
Concerns with where that material was going.
Prodding and checking, Australian style, meant not just planting trackers in tyres. No, it meant sending teams into the field to physically check where
turn
the
right
were
onto
going.
Butcher Row.
They thought it was for recycling because that's what it said on the paperwork. But when they arrived to check, the facilities were shut.
Sadly, when we sent auditors to a lot of the places we thought material was going to, nobody was there.
What kind of proportion of tyres did they find were being used illegitimately, if you like?
100% of the material was not going to the destinations that was on the paperwork.
100%.
Correct.
Faced with incontrovertible evidence, the Australian government moved fast. They banned the export of all baled tyres in 2021.
You do need to get rid of the tyres, but you don't have to get rid of them by baling them and exporting them. You at least need to process that material. By processing the tyre, you can be guaranteed that its use is going to be better than its use if it was baled.
But despite UK recyclers handing reams of complaints and evidence to the British government about what's happening, there's been no Australian-style response.
It is extremely frustrating.
Peter Taylor from the Tyre Recovery Association is always knocking on the UK government's door.
The government doesn't deliver. There is an inertia at the heart of government, and particularly, it has to be said, DEFRA at the present time, that needs somehow to be unblocked. Successive secretaries of state have just not...
In 200 yards, use the left two lanes to turn left onto Limehouse Link Tunnel, A1203.
Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, and asked them what was going on. We told them about the trackers. We explained how India can't be recycled.
Use the left two lanes to turn left onto Limehouse Link Tunnel, A1203.
We told them about the seams of toxic pollution caused by UK tyres. They told us they have strict controls over the waste we export, and they say they want to protect our natural environment. So what about the Environment Agency, a body tasked with regulating and investigating waste-related crime in England and Wales? Well, they said they take all of this very seriously. So seriously, they've now launched a comprehensive review into shipments of waste tyres from the UK to India. It's due to report at the end of this month. Eddie, how are you? Very good to see you. No, it's okay. Shall we go inside? I've got something to show you. Remember Eddie from the start of all this? He changed my tyres and said we should let him know if we ever discovered where they actually went. We showed him some of the footage from India.
I don't think this is in UK, is it?
No, this is India.
India.
These are UK tyres being taken to this place in sort of mid-northern India, and these are pyrolysis plants. So,
Small. Oh, this is environmentally.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
This is frightening.
So what do you think about when we pay the levy that obviously you charge and all other garages charge? to have them disposed of properly.
It's ending up.
Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg has announced a new tool that will allow anyone to make their own ads without the assistance of a traditional ad agency.
AI will also provide brands with the ability to generate infinite bespoke ads targeted at individual consumers. Will that finally end
In a
the
quarter of a
traditional
mile,
TV ad?
keep right to
So Martin
continue on
Solz,
Aspen
founder
Way,
of one of the world's biggest
A1261.
advertising companies, will give us his take.
Also on the show, historian Dan Snow. His podcasts, documentaries and YouTube channel reach millions of fans across the world.
He reveals how he pivoted from BBC
Keep right
presenter
to continue on
media
Aspen
mogul
Way.
and why he thinks it's boom time for history content. That's all coming up after the news.
Hello, I'm Govinda Gill with the BBC News.
Continue
A
for
plane
1
crashed at
mile.
an airport in India's western city of Ahmedabad. Local media suggests there could have been at least 200 passengers and crew on board. Video on social media shows thick black smoke rising into the sky. The plane is thought to have been on its way to Britain. Health officials at the Al-Auda hospital in Gaza say at least 18 Palestinians have been killed and around 200 more injured while waiting for aid overnight. The Israeli military says it's checking reports that Israeli forces fired at people. From Jerusalem, Hugo Bashir reports.
These are the latest incidents involving aid distribution in Gaza since the start of a new system backed by Israel and the US that bypasses the United Nations and other organizations. The mechanism, run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, has been heavily criticized as it requires people to travel to distribution sites.
Unbelievable, man. People are dying for no reason. It's crazy.
In a quarter of a mile, slide right onto Newham Way, A13.
Over the nature of nuclear material. The agency's boss, Rafael Grossi, said that Iran is the only country in the world that doesn't have nuclear weapons, but enriches uranium.
Take the next
to a
right
level
onto
of
Newham Way,
60%.
A13.
Japan has protested to China after a near miss involving Chinese military aircraft and Japanese patrol planes over international waters in the Pacific. Here's Shana Khalil.
Japan's government spokesman Yoshimasa Hayashi has said that Tokyo was deeply concerned about what he described as abnormal approaches by Chinese military planes towards Japanese patrol aircraft over the weekend. Japan's defense ministry said that Chinese jets flew as close as 45 meters to Japanese planes as they were conducting surveillance over international waters in the Pacific. Chinese state media said that Japan's tracking of Beijing's military activities in the Pacific Ocean were unfriendly and posed certain safety risks.
The UN's warning that refugees are slowly starving in camps after massive cuts in funding from the United States and other donors. The head of the UN's refugee agency told the BBC the number of refugees and displaced people around the world has nearly doubled over the past 10 years, while the amount amount of money the agency gets has remained unchanged. Felipe Grande said it was not just the US that was decreasing funds.
Many other donors also either not increasing or actually decreasing humanitarian and development funding. That means that we have to continuously make difficult choices. We can do this, we cannot do that.
World news from the BBC. A 19-year-old Polish man suspected of planning a terror attack has been arrested. Poland's Interior Ministry said the teenager and 2 other men detained earlier were fascinated by mass murderers such as Anders Breivik and the Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. The men are accused of gathering explosive materials and information about firearms and combat operations. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum has hosted talks with a senior US diplomat amid heightened tensions between the 2 countries. The issue of Mexican immigration has been at the forefront of riots and protests in Los Angeles in recent days, as the US authorities seek to deport undocumented people. A woman obsessed with the K-pop group BTS has been caught trying to break into a band member's home hours after he completed military service. The Chinese national was seen punching random numbers into a lock outside Jungkook's apartment in the South Korean capital. G. McKenzie reports from Seoul.
The BTS superstar Jungkook was discharged from the military yesterday after completing 18 months of mandatory service, something all men here in South Korea have to do. Fans from across the world have flown in to see him leave his barracks. Hours later, one of them was seen punching numbers into the keypad outside his apartment, apparently trying to gain access. She was arrested for trespassing. BTS is South Korea's most famous and lucrative band, but it's been on a break since 2022 so that all 7 members can carry out their military service.
The European Space Agency has released the first ever video and images of the sun's south pole. The footage taken from a solar orbiter spacecraft shows a shimmering bright atmosphere interspersed with darker clouds of gas. It's hoped the pictures will help scientists understand why the sun's poles switch from north to south and back again every 11 minutes. That's the latest BBC News.
Welcome to the explanation from the BBC World Service. This is Roz Atkins and me, Katie Randall, and this is The Media Show. We're here to explain the trends behind the fast-changing media landscape.
This week on The Media Show, we're looking at the disruption caused by AI to the advertising industry.
Meta has announced new tools that will allow people to make their own